The year was 52 BCE. The Roman Empire, under the command of Julius Caesar, was expanding rapidly through Gaul. The legions had crushed rebellion after rebellion, but one man stood defiantly against Rome, Vercingetorix, the Gallic warlord. His knowledge of the land and guerrilla tactics made him a formidable foe. Caesar had a problem. To chase Vercingetorix, he needed to cross the river Allier, wide, deep, and dangerous. The Gallic warriors had destroyed every bridge for miles. The Roman legions were stuck on one side of the river, while the enemy gathered strength on the other. That's when Caesar called upon an unlikely hero, Lucius Varro, a young military engineer. He wasn't known for swordsmanship or command in battle, but what he had was a sharp mind and an unbreakable will. Caesar stood before him and said, "You have 3 days to build me a bridge, or the campaign ends here." Lucius bowed. "You'll have your bridge, General." The impossible task. The terrain was muddy, the river was fast-flowing, and worse, Vercingetorix had scouts everywhere. If the Gauls discovered the Romans building a bridge, they would attack immediately. Lucius spent the first day studying the river's behavior, its depth, current speed, and the way the land sloped on both sides. That night, he drew plans by torchlight. His design: a double-piled wooden bridge reinforced with angled supports to resist the current, a method no one had ever dared to attempt in such a short time. But Lucius didn't just rely on engineering. He used strategy, deception, and strategy. To distract the Gauls, Lucius sent a small unit north to make noise, chopping wood, raising flags, and pretending to prepare a crossing. Vercingetorix, believing this was the real location, moved his army there. Meanwhile, at a hidden bend of the river, Lucius and a small team worked in silence, dropping piles into the riverbed, using ropes, stones, and scaffolding. Soldiers stood chest-deep in water, following his every command. Every hour was critical. The Romans worked in shifts, day and night. Lucius barely slept, shouting measurements, adjusting angles, testing the pressure. On the second night, a support post cracked. Instead of panicking, he adjusted the bridge's design on the fly, reinforcing it with diagonal bracing. It worked. The third day. By the morning of the third day, a miracle had happened. A fully functional military bridge spanned the Allier River, strong enough for thousands of soldiers to march across. Caesar arrived, stunned. He looked at Lucius and said just one word: "Brilliant." Without delay, the Roman legions began to cross, but Vercingetorix had discovered the trick. Furious, he marched his troops south. By the time he arrived, the Romans had already crossed and formed a defensive line on the other side. A fierce battle broke out near the river banks. The Gauls charged with rage, but the Romans held formation. Shields locked, spears ready. From behind the lines, Lucius stood watching, heart pounding. Though not a fighter, he knew this was his battle too. His bridge had brought Rome across the river. His mind had turned the tide. When the dust settled, Vercingetorix had fled again, but this time, Caesar was one step closer. And it was all because of the engineer. Legacy of the bridge. The bridge became legend. Roman soldiers called it the spine of the empire, for it had held the weight of the campaign on its beams. Lucius Varro, once just a name in a dusty engineering scroll, became a hero of Rome. Caesar would later write in his memoirs, "Battles are won with swords, but wars are won with minds." And on the river Allier, it was the mind of Lucius that carried Rome forward. Moral of the story: intelligence can turn the tide of war. Bravery is not only in the battlefield, but also in the mind that builds, plans, and dares the impossible.